Watch the corner of the screen, not the fight. A number went up. That is the entire subject of this episode, and it is a much harder problem than it looks. In a world where everyone can kill the same creature over and over, every coin that enters has to come from somewhere, mean something when it arrives, and eventually leave again. Or the money becomes wallpaper, and everything priced in it becomes meaningless. Most games solve this badly and quietly. We would rather solve it visibly, and show you the plumbing while it is still ugly enough to see. There are only two honest answers to where did this coin come from. Either the world made it out of nothing when you killed something, or another player gave it to you. Almost every problem in in-game economy ever has traces back to how much of the first one is happening. Money that appears from nowhere is a tap. It has to be running. Without it, there is nothing to earn and no reason to leave town. But a tap with no drain fills the bath. Prices drift upward. Early players end up wealthy for reasons that have nothing to do with skill, and anyone arriving later is playing a different, worse game. That is not a hypothetical failure. It is the normal outcome, and it is why so many worlds end up with a currency nobody respects. So the interesting design work is not the tap, it is the drain. And the drain has to be something people choose to use, not a tax they resent. The difference between those two is the whole craft of it. A drain people resent is a fee for existing. Standing still costs you, and the game feels like it is pickpocketing you for playing. A drain people choose is something they wanted anyway. Gear that wears and has to be seen to. Supplies for a trip they decided to take. A service worth paying for. Same coins leaving the world. Completely different feeling about the game that took them. And the trap is that the resented version is always easier to build. It is one line, subtract. The chosen version requires there to be something worth buying, which means the rest of the world has to be interesting first. Economies are downstream of everything else, which is exactly why we did not try to finish this one early. The bag is where the first real decision lives, because it has a bottom. If you can carry everything, nothing you pick up is a choice. You hoover the world and sort it out later, and every object is worth exactly as much as every other object, which is to say, nothing. Give the bag a limit and the whole thing changes shape. Now that low-value thing on the ground cost you the space you were saving. Now the walk home is a decision rather than a formality. Now two players with the same haul can make different calls about what was worth keeping. That is a very old idea, and we are not claiming otherwise. What we are claiming is that it only works if the limit is honest, if it binds early, visibly, and the same way for everybody, instead of being a wall you only meet after several hours, by which point the habit of hoovering is already formed. There is a second reason a bag with a bottom matters, and it only shows up once there are other people. A limit is what makes things worth trading. If everyone can carry everything, nobody ever needs anything from anybody. The surplus just sits in your pocket forever. Scarcity of space is what turns a pile of loot into a reason to talk to someone. Notice that everything you have seen so far happens on a flat plane with nothing on it. The economy was built here before there was a road to walk it down. And here is the other end of it. A trader with a name, a line of patter, and a list of things you can actually buy at prices that actually apply. Two things about this are worth pointing out. The first is that the trader has an opinion about the world. The goods move faster when the roads are quiet. That is not decoration. A merchant who reacts to conditions is a merchant who can carry information about the world without a quest marker telling you anything. The second is subtler, and it is the one we care about. The shop is open while the world keeps moving around it. Nothing froze. That sounds trivial, and it is the direct consequence of everything in the netcode episode. In a shared world, a menu cannot stop time, so buying something has to be a thing you do in the world, at some risk, rather than a safe pocket you retreat into. The obvious question is, why have shopkeepers at all, when players could simply trade with each other? The answer is that a world made only of player trade is brutal to arrive in. Everything worth having is already owned. The prices are set by whoever got there first, and a new player's first hour is spent discovering they have nothing anyone wants. A merchant who will always buy at some price, and always sell the basics, is a floor under that. Not the interesting part of an economy, but the part that stops the interesting parts from being closed to newcomers. What we want, eventually, is for the shopkeeper to be the boring option. The price you take when you cannot be bothered to find a better one. If players are routinely doing better by dealing with each other, the system is working exactly as intended, and the trader is doing their real job by being the thing you can always fall back to. Then the world showed up underneath the economy, and the economy got a geography. This is where a full bag stops being a number and becomes a situation. Distance is now real. The route home crosses ground that belongs to something. The decision about whether to push for one more fight or turn back with what you have is no longer arithmetic. It is a bet about a specific hill. Nothing in the rules changed to make that happen. The bag is the same bag. What changed is that go back finally costs something, and the moment it costs something, every earlier decision about what to carry acquires a consequence. An economy without a map is a spreadsheet. This is the episode where it stopped being one. Geography does something else too, and it is the thing we are most interested in. Once the walk home is real, where things are worth money starts to matter. Something common where it is found, and scarce where it is needed, has a reason to move. And the moment goods have a reason to move, somebody has a reason to move them. That is the seed of a trade route, and we did not have to build it. It falls out of having a world with distances in it, a bag with a bottom, and somebody at the other end who wants what you are carrying. So what stops all of this inflating into nonsense a year from now? Honestly, watching it, constantly, and being willing to change it. Every coin in and every coin out is recorded, which means the shape of the whole economy is measurable rather than a matter of opinion. When it drifts, we will be able to say by how much and from where, and the fix will be an argument about evidence instead of an argument about vibes. We are not going to pretend we have this solved. Economies fail slowly, and mostly, they fail because nobody was looking at the right number until it was far too late. What we have built is the thing that makes looking possible. The tap, the drain, the bag with a bottom, the trader with real prices, and a record of every transaction between them. The part we genuinely do not know yet is how people will behave once there are enough of them to matter. That is not something a test harness can tell you. It is the first question in this series we are going to have to answer with players rather than proofs. One last time, the unglamorous version. Every rule in this episode was settled here, on ground with nothing on it, using creatures that exist to be killed and a counter in the corner. No scenery, no atmosphere, nothing to soften a bad decision or distract from a broken one. If the numbers had not worked here, they would not have worked anywhere. They would just have taken longer to notice. A tap, a drain, and a bag with a bottom. That is the whole machine, and everything else, the trader, the haul, the walk home over a hill that belongs to something, is what happens when you put that machine somewhere real. It is worth saying what we have not built, because the gap is the honest part. There is no crafting yet, no player-to-player market, no way for anyone to set a price. Those are the systems that turn an economy from a set of rules into something people argue about, and every one of them is downstream of what you have seen tonight. You cannot have a market until there is something scarce, somewhere to carry it, and a reason to move it. So this is a foundation episode, and foundations are unglamorous by definition. What we can say is that the numbers underneath it are measurable, the record is complete, and when the interesting parts arrive, they will be landing on something we can actually inspect rather than something we hope is working.